After spending some time with it, I thought it might be helpful to share what I have noticed so far, in a real-use kind of way. I have been riding it for short errands, slower neighborhood loops, and a couple longer rides when I wanted movement without feeling like I had to fight for balance the whole time. At its core, this is a three-wheel bike with a laid-back seating position. I see it making the most sense for people who want to stay active, but do not want the discomfort that can come from a traditional bicycle seat and riding posture. I also think it is a good fit if you feel unsteady on two wheels, or if you just want something you can ride at an easy pace without constantly thinking about tipping over at a stop sign. What makes it different, at least compared to the bikes most people are used to, is the recumbent setup. Your legs are forward, your back has support, and your weight is spread out in a way that feels more relaxed. On my first ride, that was the main thing I noticed. My back did not feel compressed, and I was not putting pressure through my wrists. I could just settle into the seat and pedal. The seat is wide and padded, and for me it has been comfortable for longer rides. It is not a soft couch kind of feel, but it does a good job supporting my lower back. I also like that the backrest angle can be adjusted, because small changes there matter when you are riding for more than a quick lap around the block. After I dialed that in, I stopped thinking about the seat, which is basically what I want. The frame feels solid when I am riding. It has that steel frame feel where it is not trying to be ultralight. When I hit rough sidewalk seams or roll over little gravel patches, it does not feel flimsy or rattly. It feels like something meant to be used regularly and left in a garage and rolled out whenever you want to ride. The trade-off is that when I pick it up or reposition it by hand, I can feel the weight. It is manageable, but I would not describe it as easy to carry upstairs. One practical thing that mattered in my house was fit. The frame can be adjusted for different heights, and that is not just a nice idea on paper. I set it up for me, then adjusted it again for someone shorter, and it did not turn into a whole project. Once it is set, the pedaling position feels natural, like my knees are not coming too high and I am not reaching for the pedals. Stability is the main reason to consider a tricycle like this, and it delivers on that part. Starting from a stop is simple. Stopping at an intersection is simple. I do not have that moment where I need to unclip, put a foot down, and keep the bike upright. I just slow down and stop. That takes a lot of mental load away, and it made my rides feel calmer, especially in areas with pedestrians or cars pulling out of driveways. That said, three-wheel stability has its own learning curve. When you turn, you do not lean the same way you might on a two-wheel bike. On tighter turns, especially if you are going faster than you should, you feel the trike want to stay flat while your body wants to lean. The fix is simple. You slow down before the turn, take wider corners, and after a couple rides it becomes automatic. I mention it because it is not something everyone expects on day one. The wheel setup feels like it strikes a good balance for typical riding. It rolls smoothly on pavement and sidewalks. On packed dirt paths, it has been fine, as long as I am not trying to treat it like a mountain bike. I did take it over some uneven patches and a few curb-cut transitions, and it stayed composed. But you still feel the bumps because you are seated low, and you are not standing up to absorb impact. If your route has a lot of broken pavement, you will notice it more than you would on a bike with big suspension. One thing I ended up using more than I expected was the rear basket. It is not glamorous, but it is genuinely useful. I have thrown a small grocery run in there, carried a bag with a jacket and water, and used it for random errands. It changes the vibe of the ride. I am not wearing a backpack, and I am not trying to hang bags off the handlebars. I just put stuff in the back and go. Setup is doable at home. Mine arrived with the parts packed well, and it took me a bit of time to get everything aligned the way I wanted. The instructions were decent, but I still had moments where I paused and checked that I was orienting a piece correctly. The biggest thing is giving yourself space and not rushing it. Once it is together, day-to-day use is simple. I check tire pressure, I make sure the seat position has not shifted, and I go. In daily riding, the comfort part is what keeps me coming back. On a normal bicycle, if I am not in the mood for it, I can talk myself out of riding because I know my wrists might ache or my back might tighten up. On this trike, I sit down, start pedaling, and it feels more like a casual activity than a workout I have to brace for. You can still get your heart rate up if you push the pace, but the posture stays relaxed. I have ridden it in a few real situations that taught me what it is and what it is not. In a quiet neighborhood, it is easy and pleasant. On mixed-use paths, I stay aware that it is wider than a bicycle. Passing people is fine, but I give more space and I slow down. On narrow gates or tight bollards, you need to be careful because not every bike entrance is tricycle friendly. That is one of those practical limitations that does not show up in a product photo, but you learn it fast when you are out riding. Braking has felt predictable. I can slow smoothly and stop without drama. Because you are stable at a stop, I feel less pressure to time everything perfectly. That sounds small, but it makes riding in real traffic situations less stressful. Now I do want to address something from a reviewer standpoint. There are no smart features here, and there is no mobile app experience to talk about. Some people expect everything to connect to a phone now, but this is not that kind of product. Personally, I am fine with it. I would rather have something simple that I can maintain without troubleshooting a connection. If you want tracking, I think the realistic approach is using a separate fitness watch or a phone mount with a navigation app. The Trike itself is about the riding experience, not software. As for durability, I cannot pretend I have owned it for years, but after weeks of regular riding, I have not had any mechanical surprises. No odd creaks that got worse. No parts feeling like they are loosening constantly. I did a basic rate check after my first few rides, because that is what I do with any new bike-style product, and it has been steady since. If you are considering it, here is how I would summarize the strengths and the limitations based on actual use. The strongest part is comfort and stability. I can ride longer without feeling beat up, and I never worry about balance at low speed or at stops. The basket adds real day-to-day value. The limitations are the size and turning behavior. It takes more space than a bicycle. It is not as nimble in tight areas, and you need to slow down more for corners than you might expect at first. It is also not something I would want to carry upstairs regularly. Overall, my impression is that it does what it is supposed to do. It gives me a stable, comfortable way to get moving, run small errands, and enjoy rides without feeling tense. If you have been avoiding cycling because the posture hurts, or because balance makes you nervous, this kind of tricycle setup can make riding feel approachable again. If you have any questions about how it rides in a specific situation, leave a comment and I will do my best to answer based on what I have tried. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with what you want me to test next. Thank you for watching.